Good morning. It's Wednesday, May 25th, 2021. I'm Pastor Thor Ramsey with Center Church. This is Gospel for Five. We take 5 minutes out of our day, focus on the gospel and the one who saved our souls. We've been going through Proverbs. Now we're in this completely culturally inappropriate chapter of the Bible. Proverbs chapter 5, warning against adultery. For the lips of a forbidden woman drip honey, and her speech is smoother than oil. You could certainly apply that to a man too. The lips of a forbidden man drip honey, and his speech is smoother than oil. But in the end, whether it's a man or a woman, it's bitter. Adultery ends up bitter, sharp as a two-edged sword. So it's interesting. Truth can cut you. The Bible is analogized as being sharper than a two-edged sword, able to pierce your thoughts. But this is in a good way, the same way that a scalpel in the hands of a surgeon that surgeon will operate on you and save your life. But you put the knife in the hands of, put them in the hands of someone who's discovered their spouse committing adultery. And you have the beginning of Minority Report, where he has the scissors and he's ready to kill his wife and her lover. But, of course, that is in the movie, because why? That happens in real life all the time. So, the scalpel can be used to heal or to kill. Now, in this case, adultery is like a knife that is used to destroy you. Her feet go down to death. Adultery, her feet go down to death. Her steps follow the path to hell. She does not ponder the path of life. Her ways wander, and she does not know it. So, now, there's two ways to understand this, and I think they're both legitimate. There's one, he's personifying adultery now. But either way, it's the woman who represents adultery. Her feet go down to death. The way of adultery is the way of spiritual death. And again, as I mentioned yesterday, I know several stories of people who, and again, this is why we're instructed to guard our hearts, he said in chapter 4. With vigilance, keep your heart with all vigilance, for from it flow the springs of life. So there's an argument that adultery doesn't just creep up on you, that there is you get in a state of spiritual coldness, you're not in the Word, you're not in prayer, you're not in fellowship, there's a little bit of a drifting, maybe you still feel like a strong Christian, but all of a sudden an opportunity presents itself and you just happen to be in a weak enough spiritual state where you give into the temptation in that moment, because the temptation has presented itself as sweeter than honey. And the end, though, is a bitterness. The end is death. The end is the end, often of marriages and relationships. O now, sons, listen to me, and do not depart from the words of my mouth. Keep your way far from her, and do not go near the door of her house, lest you give your honor to others and your years to the merciless. Adultery is a merciless thing. Lest strangers take their fill of your strength, and your labors go to the house of a foreigner. And at the end of your life, you groan. Why do you groan at the end of your life? Because these relationships do not lead to other relationships that flourish. You probably heard this truism, but right, you have two couples, right? They have an affair with each other. They're cheating on their spouses. So they have an affair. They get together. They divorce their spouses. They get together, and now how's that relationship? That whole relationship began with with deception. So now there is an underlying, doubt, because you began a relationship with someone that cheats. Where's the trust there? That these relationships are doomed from the beginning in many cases. All right, what's God said to you today? What do you